Hey guys, how you doing? It's Henry at Mowers, Blowers, and Guns. Welcome to another weekend product review involving firearms. So you know, this is my dad's Remington 511X 22 caliber hunting rifle, bolt action. I recently put a 2-7 by 32 millimeter Riflescope or LVPO on it. I think that's a little overkill for 22 caliber because the range for this accuracy wise is about 50 yards to 100. Anything over 100 yards for me, accuracy is very compromised. You have no idea where it's going. So I think this scope is a little overkill for this. That's why I received a new product from my friends over at Feyachi. This is a 1-4 by 24 millimeter. So the range is a lot more appropriate for this type of weapon shooting 22 cal. Let's open it up and see what it looks like. So let's open up the box, and what we find here are the user manual about the specs of this 1 to 4 times by 24 millimeter rifle scope. Comes with the lens cleaning cloth, and it's well packaged in this box here. As you can see here, this is what it looks like. It does have an illuminated reticle, and as you can see, it does come with some lens caps for dust. These can also be removed if you wish. Here is where it's at 1 times, and you can turn it to 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, and finally 4, which is the maximum magnification for this scope. I think this is appropriate for this weapon because you could always have it at 1 times when you're shooting close by, or whatever you feel comfortable with. 4 times you could probably see pretty well at 100 yards, and even 200 yards, depending on your skill level. For me though, to shoot long range targets, I definitely need to have it at 4. And if you wanted to shoot close up, you could just keep it at 1. 24 millimeter reticle, so that pretty large circle that you could see, and it also has crosshairs that are black that are etched onto the reticle as well. Now this scope doesn't come with any rings, so I'm going to remove this scope that I have on my rifle and use these rings to accommodate this. So as you can see, the scope rings that are on this rifle are just 20 millimeter scope rings. This scope requires 30 millimeter. So therefore, I can't show you the scope mounted on these rings securely because these are for 20 millimeter, and obviously there's too much space here. You don't get a good cohesive seal basically around the scope ring. So I'm just going to demonstrate it with it just sitting on this rail here. On this side here, as you can see, it's moving around because I'm not secured it. We have knob type windage settings where you don't require a screw or a hex key or an Allen key to turn. You can use your fingers and just turn it. Once you have zeroed this in to absolute 0 in the center bullseye of your target, you can actually loosen this, pull it up, and reset it to 0 so that during your outing or event, you can freely move this around during your event, and then when you want to return it to 0, you just push it back down again and it'll go back to 0 again. So this is your windage settings under the turret knob, as well as your elevation one on the top over here. See. On this side, we can certainly simply just lift that up because we're not mounting it, right? We have your cap for the 2032 CR battery. That's already included with this scope. You have 11 illumination settings, 1 through 11. It's on 11 right now, and I'm going to show you what it looks like through the lens. It's very difficult to to try to aim this so that you guys can see. But if you can make it out, you see the target? I've aimed right above the target so I can show you what the crosshairs look like. Right now that is illuminated at 11 times. If it's not illuminated, it's simply a black etched reticle so that you can still see during the daytime even without any illumination. I'm going to cover the scope with my hand so that it's black so you can kind of see how it lights up. I placed my hand over it, see? Put my hand over it so that you could see it is illuminated red. In the daytime, it's very difficult to see, and that's at 11 times. If that was at 1 times, you wouldn't be able to see it. This would be good for nighttime or dusk shooting. So this is at 1 times magnification. This is at 2 times magnification. 3 times magnification. And finally we have 4 times magnification. That's the difference. If you look around, you'll see the difference between this and that. So I'll be honest, I wish they would just give you scope mounting rings, because now you have to go out and buy it. I know that people like to customize and choose the type of scope mount that they want, and maybe the ones that they give you are not the ones that you want. But honestly, these things don't cost very much at all. Wouldn't it be a lot more convenient for the customer to be able to mount their scope without having to go out and buy it? Because you're delaying the fact of the enjoyment is that they have to now wait, look, search, find the right one that they want that matches this. I just wish that you would include scope mounting rings, even the cheap kinds, so that you know that they can mount it. It's good that you have the black etched crosshairs on the reticle, because if your battery died or it failed for some reason, you're still able to target using the black crosshairs. That's good. Not all scopes have that. I like the idea that you have the knob turning windage and elevation settings as opposed to requiring a flathead screwdriver or a hex tool to turn it. This way you don't have to carry a dime in your pocket to turn and adjust your settings. You have a knob where you can use your hands and fingers and just twist the knob to get your MOAs adjusted. The adjusting of the magnification takes a little bit of strength. It's not easy. You have to use a little bit of power to turn the scope from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And the 0.2 is good. It's a very small dot for you to line up 2.5 in that dot, 2 in the dot, and so on. It's a very small dot, you can barely see it. There's a slight bump on the top so that your fingers can touch it instead of a stud that sticks out, so it's clearly that you can clearly grab it and turn the settings magnification 1 through 4. It's just a very slight bump, if you can see it. So if you guys want a 1 to 4 by 24 millimeter LPVO or Riflescope for your low powered rifle, 22 caliber, this is very appropriate. Make sure you go out and get the appropriate scope rings for it. 30 millimeter should fit. If you guys are interested in this item, I'll leave a link in the description to the Feyachi link. Thanks a lot for joining me, guys. We'll see you guys next time on Mowers, Blowers, and Guns.